One of the ways to guarantee that your throne is taken away is to become bigger than the one who poured on you. What are the mysteries that secure the throne? Number one, set up a tabernacle for the ark. Set up a tabernacle for the ark. You say, Pastor, what do you mean? I want you to please listen to me. If you are here, say yes. You see, Peter told you the story of when the vice president called him and they paid money into his account. And he said the first thing he did was to go and buy himself a car. That was the first reason for downfall. Restoration started, but it had to be aborted at that moment. Because the face he saw in the hotel, he didn't honor it. The first order of business anywhere under heaven is God first. I want you to listen. Every one of you will say yes until money enter your hand. Until opportunity enter your hand. Everybody in church talks like that until they are challenged with a blessing, until the first job comes, until the promotion you're looking for comes, until the contract comes, and then suddenly the money is paid into your account and you remember everything you need. When the tithe wasn't the first money you removed, and when a first fruit didn't come out of that first encounter, believe me, you can call church a scam till you die. You are going to suffer. 90% of those who are ex this and ex that in church, that's where their problem began. It's not witchcraft. Are they hearing me? If you have my voice, say yes. Psalm 132 from verse 1. Psalm 130 from verse 1 very quickly. Lord, remember David and all his afflictions, how he swore unto the Lord and vowed unto the mighty God of Jacob, surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house, nor go up into my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes, or slumber to my eyelids, until, somebody say until I find a place for the Lord, an habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. If you help me, say yes. David was in the bush. Saul is pursuing him. David needs divine intervention. David lies down and starts crying, oh God, if you will make me king, if you will change my life, if you will lift me up, I will put you first. In fact, I won't go to my house. From the oil of my head, we are going to first look for a place where we're going to build you a tabernacle. Then we're going to bring your ark back that Saul had abandoned long ago in the house of Abinadab. God said, is that so? He said, yes. Seriously. Oh, you don't know God talks like that. You have never met him before. Seriously, say, you actually mean this? He said, yeah. It's okay. Go. You will hear from me. And David walked out of his presence. And then boom. The man that opposed David for how many years? I'm sure you know that Saul wasn't David's problem. You didn't know? The problem of David was a man called Abner. Even after Saul died, Abner told David won't be king, and Abner was the chief of army staff of Saul. Abner pursued David to kill David. After Saul died, the whole Israel turned to David, and Abner said it can't happen. By himself, chose somebody, Mephibosheth, planted him as king, and stood behind the man. He said, let David come now. David went back into the bush again. By that time, second anointing has rendered on David, and yet Abner didn't allow him to take throne. But when David made a vow, Abner got up one morning and called a meeting. He said, all these years you have been troubling me that you want David to be king. He said, I know that is the will of God. He said, okay, you people, okay, get serious and do it immediately. Then I invited David. No, you didn't hear me. And Abner stood there and they poured oil on David. Why? Because there was a vow. David could have gone home from there celebrating. And David said, no, I remember. First order of business, bring back the ark. Where are we planting it? Beside my house. Are you a priest? He said, it doesn't matter. I will preside. He made a mistake, but God recognized that his heart was right. There are mysteries that secure the throne. One day, you will find out. You didn't hear me. That's your first salary after you graduated. It mattered. You know, I was in youth service. I came back from youth service. Are you hearing me? Every money that was with me as I was closing youth service, I gave it to church. I traveled back. I made a vow. The first monies that came into my hand, I sent it to the same church I was in Benin, from Port Harcourt. Why? I was looking for destiny. What you don't know can kill you. But when we said that, then they're looking for our money. That church didn't know. They were not looking for my money. They didn't preach money. It was a deeper life church. They were not asking for money. But I knew I needed God. Stop destroying your future. If you notice, since this program started, I've been very casual about it. Talking very simply and ministering to you. All the yeah hasn't worked. Lift your hand. In the name of Jesus, who died and rose again, take your throne. Put God first. Amen. Amen. You see, there are some of you that had the opportunity of wedding and then honeymoon. Wonderful. But you see, there are people like us that while we were in the hotel for honeymoon, the first assignment is, what church do we go to tomorrow morning? How can the first day me and you are living together, we didn't go to church? They are not hearing me. I moved out of Nigeria. I traveled abroad and all of that. I see many of them that are members. Give them 5 years. You'll find out what I'm saying today is okay or not. Where did you worship when you landed, Pastor? So the first day you entered this country, the first Sunday of it, you sat down at home to do what? These people are not hearing me. Is anybody hearing what I'm talking? To do what? Please explain to me how you raise the tabernacle for God there. He said, now, it doesn't matter. Pastor George always makes church look serious. But I get result. Lift your right hand. In a name that's above every name, you will see result. Second thing that secures the altar. Lay destiny foundation by altars that secures the throne. Lay destiny foundation by altars. Somebody say altars. First Kings chapter 3. From verse 3. I talked to you about David. Let's talk about Solomon now. And Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar. Next verse. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask what I shall give thee. You see, a man was angry that he has not become a millionaire. He forgot that all his children have graduated from school. And he can't remember how he was able to pay the bills. You didn't hear me. He forgot he's now living in his own house. And he can't remember how he was able to buy the land and all that with the amount of salary, an amount of business, and all of that. I want every one of you to listen to me. You will grow great. Since it's not you, somebody collect help. But you see, learn what it means to have an altar. Somebody say an altar of sacrifice for every new level. Every new level. Every new level. See, I'm not saying this to set a pattern for you. I'm saying this to set a principle for you. There's a difference between a principle and a pattern. Is that true? Okay, so see, my birthday was 7th of February. By 6th of February, I was in Abuja in the evening. I called my pastor and I said, Daddy, tomorrow is my birthday. He said, that's true. I said, I wanted to see you. And first thing in the morning, he said, oh, it was supposed to be in Port Harcourt that week. And I said, no, I'm already in Abuja. I'm not calling you to ask whether I should come or not. I'm already in Abuja. I'm just telling you that before 6 a.m., I'll be seeing you. He said, no challenge. And seeing him was because I wanted to drop something in his hand and have somebody lay hand on. You are not hearing. Now, I didn't say that should be a pattern for you. I said I'm showing you the principle. Are you with me? you can pattern it the way it suits you. Do you get it? If I called him before leaving, he could have said, stay in Port Harcourt, I will see him here. It may not be the same day, but it will still count. I don't know if you are getting what I'm talking about. But you see, there are things that many of you have outgrown that makes sure you won't grow more. There are things you have outgrown that has guaranteed you won't grow more. Where you are now, with the grace you saw earlier on, you have exceeded here now. Why are you slow? Basic things didn't secure your throne. Many of you come for deliverance, come for prayer meetings, and come and testify how your breakthrough happened, and a job came, and opportunity came. God changed your life. 2 years later, you are still on the same level. Is God a stagnant God? David taught Solomon well. He continued in the status of David, his father. The first money that came, I must buy land, I must buy land, I must buy land. What of church? No, I can't. I got 10 million. So I took 50,000 and dropped in church as a seed. I took 5,000, transferred to the account of my pastor, and I went to buy land. I have done something. 5 years after, you found out that the foundation was laid, there was no building. I'm not talking about the foundation of your house. I'm talking about your destiny wasn't built. And then people see you 10 years later. They say, is that not the man that testified? What happened? What happened? Are they hearing me? It's all of these things pastors are talking is because they want to collect money. I didn't collect from you before I got here. If I don't see you again till I die, I will still be moving. So stop making yourself my source before my source kill you. Stop thinking I'm looking in your pocket. Stop thinking you are the reason I'm here. Before the reason I'm here scatter you, reduce you to an extent you will be begging. You are not the reason I'm here. I'm not manipulating you because you are not my source. When you are gone, my source will still be there. The way these people are looking at me, they said, this man prepared for us today. Lift up your right hand. I speak over you. Before this month is over, my God help you. My God lift here. My God empower here. Have you dropped your stones on the floor? Please, can you drop them on the floor and let the ground be attacking the stone? Let the ground be attacking the stone. Let's go to the third point. Please, anybody collecting anything must not be inside the compound. Anybody collecting any stone must not. If you collect one inside the compound, it won't work for you. You can obey, you may not obey. How can you pastor foolish people? You better take your bag as you are moving. If anybody steal your phone, steal your money, that person got his it's a blessing. Thunder, fire, Satan. Cannot be pastoring foolish people. Okay, those of you who has brain, can we continue? Praise the Lord. Drop your stone on the floor. There we move on. We move. Okay. The third thing. Are you here? If you are going to secure your throne, deal with the ancient roots of decay. deal with the ancient roots of decay. Brothers and sisters, some things that fought you not to get there, if you don't remove them, we fight you not to stay there. You didn't hear me. Let me repeat. Some things that fought you not to get there, if you don't address them, we fight you not to stay there. Have you ever noticed one funny thing? That many young women who married late find it difficult to stay in marriage. Battles begin almost the same day. And you say, but this marriage is meant to be a blessing. No, there's a counter attack. You didn't hear me. The things that fought them, wanting them not to get married, is the same thing fighting them not to stay married. They are not hearing me. Many young women trust the Lord to have a pregnancy, and the pregnancy begins, and they find out that battles also begin. The reason is because what was keeping you barren is still fighting to stop you. But I lift my hand over you. That thing will go down. I thought your amen will be louder than my voice. Please listen attentively. Praise the Lord. You see, when Josiah became king, are you with me? In 2 Kings 23 verse 3. And then verse 15 and 16, I'll read them and we move. 2 Kings 23 verse 3. And the king stood by a pillar, that's King Josiah, and made a covenant. Somebody say covenant. This night you make one before the Lord. What covenant did he make? To walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes, and with all their heart and with all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. They made a covenant. Now, are you with me? I don't have all the time to read for you what happened next. But then there was a priest. The name of that priest is called Hilkiah. Anybody remember the name of the son of Hilkiah? Jeremiah the prophet. Now, no, they read Bible in this church again. Are you hearing me? So Papa Jeremiah the prophet stood up and then opened the Bible and showed the king a prophecy that was made some time ago concerning him. That a prophet before he was born, before his mama the Mariam stood and said that one day in the lineage of David a man shall be born called Josiah, and he will sit on the throne and then he will break the idols of Samaria. This man said, so my name is in this book. He said, yeah. He said, we are going. Praise the Lord. Anybody remember when a young prophet stood before Samaria and said, oh altar, altar, hear the word of the Lord? Are you still here? And while he was speaking, power broke the altar into two. The old prophet that was eaten by the young prophet, that old prophet deceived, that was lion ate him. Remember his story? That's the one that prophesied about Josiah. And so Josiah decided, this altar, look at verse 15 and 16. It must come down. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high place which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made, both the altar and the high place he break down, and burnt the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burnt the groove. Anything in your background still speaking that wants to take you back to where you were, out of this meeting today, they are going down. You know, don't ever assume that there's nothing to address until you have addressed everything. And you won't know if you have addressed everything. But I keep telling you, anything you don't address will undress you. Are they still here? I don't believe in all those spiritual warfare. God has prospered me. Can I tell you something? Are you with me? You see, many of the people you call celebrities, many of the people we call important personalities, governors, presidents, all of that, are always kneeling down before people for hands to be laid. No, you didn't hear me. Are you hearing me? You see, many times I go just maybe to exercise or do one thing. You see a man, he'll come around. He's a man of God. Thank God you are here. Oh. He said, your being here is a blessing. I beg, man of God, I want tap anointing. Can we go by the side? Now, you will look at the man and say, this occult man, or this politician, or this MD, very wicked man. He has 21 girlfriends. He won't leave you alone. He's a man of God. Make with this corner. Man of God, just rub your hand on my head. Just. As far as he's concerned, he wants to tap anointing. You see, it didn't matter to you, but to him, there's something he's targeting that touch that day we do for him. It wasn't a joke for him. There is something am I talking to somebody here? There's something in his mind. I was out there somewhere this afternoon or this early in the morning, and somebody walked up to me. He didn't care what I was doing. He didn't care. I was talking with somebody when he came in and just started. Opened his something. He's a man of God. Speak. Began to show me something. Business something. Payments already coming in. More than 10 billion euros of the project. For a stream of ZNL, one of the streams of this that his company is meant to handle. He said, we can't miss this. We already have gotten it. Say something so we can enter. The person I'm talking to is confused. This man doesn't have respect. No, what he's pursuing doesn't demand respect. He said, I've made a vow. I've made a vow. Say something. I don't know the vow he made. I stretch my hand over. Before tonight is over, something will happen for you. I prayed. The person I'm working with, he believes in you too. I told him about you. Hey. I want every one of you to please understand. Politicians, actors, actresses, you walk into different cities. They may not be in the service, but they want to be serviced. I don't think you are hearing. Hey, man of God, it's my birthday today. Oh, happy birthday. No, pastor, it's not for happy birthday. Can I call? The person saying, can I call? He's going to call 17 pastors that morning. We call A, call B, call C, call D. Man of God, it's my birthday today. He's not asking for money. Say something. Say something. Say something. He said, oh, those actresses. That thing is a shower. They are doing a shower and collecting prayer up and down. They are doing business, collecting prayer up and down. You that's it intelligent, see how far. You need continual impartation. And you need to fight the thing stopping you. Am I talking to somebody here? Don't grow beyond this. Lift your right hand. While you are hearing me now, the thing is fighting you, die. Get back to anything in your background that is still speaking and address them. Pull the altars down. Whenever you travel to the village without your car, while people are celebrating that you have arrived, enter the house, kneel down, invite the Lord into the place, pour your oil, sanctify the environment, prepare your communion. Come outside as if you are drinking from a cup. How are you people fine? God bless you. You pour the thing there. As if you are finished, you are drinking. You know what you are addressing. Am I talking to somebody else? You know what you are addressing. Because you know how far your papa traveled. And if you are not careful, how far your papa travel will be how far you travel. So now that it looks like you have wings, don't let them cut your wing. In the night again, you come out and you move around a little bit again and you take another communion and pour in that corner too. Any morning again, you move again. You move up to Talada, Shatalaba, and you take another one and you pour there too. You are speaking things that are resisting altars have been there for generations. That's what it means to have spiritual sense. They gave you a new office. Who sat there before? I don't know. What did he do? I don't know. How was he? I don't know. What did he bury here? I don't know. But if you don't want to suffer the famine that David suffered, deal with the things Saul left behind. Am I talking to somebody here? The Bible said there was famine for 3 whole years. And why was that famine there? Because of Saul. David took over as king. Rain didn't fall for 3 years. David went to God. God, what did I do? God said, it's not you. It's the man that sat on the throne before you. You say, but it doesn't make sense. It's not even right. How can God do that? I don't understand everything spiritual, but I better obey. While you are busy questioning, life is passing. I stretch my hand over it. Everyone that sat where you are sitting, everyone that buried something in that house you enter, everyone that did one thing or another there in order to overthrow or to take over, today out of this altar we uproot them. I say we uproot them. I say we uproot them. I say we uproot them. We sanctify that car. We sanctify that shop. We sanctify that house. We sanctify that office. We sanctify that family. In the name of Jesus Christ. Are you still with me? The fourth thing to do to secure the throne is address the forces resisting the throne. Address them. Fight them. Look up, you're almost done. Are they here? Let me hear you say this so it can enter you. Use your mouth and say it with me. New levels. New devils. New devils. New devils. Don't forget that. Let me ask you to repeat it again so you don't remember, don't forget. New levels. New devils. New devils. New devils. Don't forget that. Every time God changes your level, new devils show up. You are not hearing me. You see, it is against the rule of boxing to have a heavy weight on the ring with a bantamweight. In fact, heavyweight and cruiserweight don't fight. It is heavyweight versus heavyweight. So the moment your weight category changes, the opponent must change. You are not hearing me. So, what was fighting you when you were a thousandaire is not what is going to fight you now that you're a millionaire. And now that you are across hundreds of millions, watch out. If you are with me, say yes. Please look up here. Whether you are abroad or in Nigeria, these principles apply. I know some of you that are members are watching anywhere in the world. Wherever you are, these things apply. Praise the Lord. Those of you abroad, please listen. We are not sure you are abroad that succeeded until many years after. Traveling is not success. You have just traveled. Your arriving there is not success. It's just a preliminary. You just enter. So we celebrate what God has done, bringing you there. It's like somebody who got a job and testified that God has given me a job. Getting a job and prospering on that job are not the same. Come on, are you hearing me? Getting wedded and prospering in wedding are not the same. So you that have traveled now, apply these principles. Are they hearing me? 2 Samuel 5:17. 2 Samuel 5:17. But when the Philistines heard, when they did what? When they did what? When their intelligence reported that they had anointed David king over Israel, some of the Philistines. Do you have night blindness? Then look well. Few of the Philistines. How many Philistines? All the Philistines came up to seek David. The moment they heard that he bought a car, they rose. So Ngozi eventually married. Where were we looking? Okay. Let us give her hell on earth marriage. Battles begin. Are they hearing me? So Tochukwu actually traveled. He's in Canada now. Where are we looking? He will be eating kanda in Canada. Are you hearing my voice here? When they heard, sir, they will hear of you. They will hear that you are on the throne. They will hear that you broke through. They will hear that you got wedded. They will hear you have your baby. They will hear you built a house. They will hear you are a governor. They will hear you are a senator. Jump up and shout, they will hear. Say that. When the Philistines heard, they rose. They said, wherever David is, we are looking for him. And brothers and sisters, you remember? Are you with me? When they came and they began to fight, David prayed and God gave him a breakthrough. You can read the whole passage all through the end. When David fought them and defeated them, the Bible says, and they left their idols in the battlefield and ran. That means when they were coming, they carried idols to the battlefield. So David was not fighting them man to man. He was fighting man plus altars. They left. Now, when they left, if you help me say yes, they went and fortified again. And they came the next time and scattered all over the place. By this time, David was now confident that he has beaten them the first one, so he can beat them again. But thank God for being confident but not being overconfident. The Bible said David inquired of the Lord, how do we fight this battle? Guess what? Are you with me? And God said to David, he said, don't move. Stay here. Wait. Until you hear the noise of soldiers marching on top of mulberry trees. You are standing here and you hear left, right, and all of that. And you look up, you can't see anybody. But soldiers are marching on top of trees. He said, only when you hear that sound, you move. That is when you know I have gone before you to battle. Why? Because when they saw that the amount of juju they came with the next time didn't happen, they may have gone to bury 17 virgins. They may have done all manner of things that David can't recover from. So if David fought with the mentality of yesterday, they will bury David alive. So God said, calm down until you hear the sound of soldiers marching on top of trees. You will know that angelic armies are ahead. Then you can enter. I speak over you today. Let angelic armies go for you. Let angelic armies beat them down for you. Let angelic armies stop them for you. The people fighting your rise in angelic armies, fight them. The power of God, fight them. This is how to secure your throne. This is how to secure it all. The number of people that have been dethroned is alarming. Are you with me? I said to God, I say, even no matter my problem in life, please don't ever allow me to stop praying. If you don't help me for anything, help me in prayer. Please help me to keep my mouth moving. Every time my tongue is moving, my mouth is moving. I can't afford not to move my mouth. How many pastors do you know in Port Harcourt that have stayed consistent for 17 years, 18 years, 20 years, have been running like that and keep increasing and growing all this time? Check this city. Check all the big names you knew 21 years ago, 20 years ago, 17 years ago, 15 years ago. After some time, they're still here, but they go calm. What I'm saying, is that true? The only way I can keep going is to keep fighting. I don't think you're with me. And there are all kinds of crazy people whose interest is to bring you down. But you won't go down. I thought I would hear amen. That's how not to be an ex this, ex that. Lord, please help me to keep praying. Please help me to keep moving my mouth. Help me to keep doing spiritual sanitation. Help me to keep sending thunder and lightning. No, you are not hearing me. Brothers and sisters, it get why. The things looking for you have not died. And are very angry every time you pack new anointing. No, you didn't hear. How many of you notice that? Okay, many of you don't notice this. You're too spiritual to notice that. But some of us that are still trying to be spiritual, you can agree with me that sometimes when you finish one major fasting like January to please God and July Vigils of Destiny and all that, after some time, while you are fasting, things are calm. You can feel anointing. Everywhere is okay. After that, one major temptation will come. Oh, all of you are kind of like me. Are you hearing my voice here? So one huge one. You say, what did happen here? Brothers and sisters, is because while you were fasting, you were on fire. No, you're not hearing. You see, it doesn't matter how foolish fly is. Every fly knows a hot pot. As a fly is going, he comes close to the pot and the heat is there. He says, I'm not going to land here. Give it 2 hours. The same fly that can, and then went and landed or something. After 2 hours, he said, that thing don't go down. That's how these things work. I stretch my hand toward. Where they're looking for you, they won't find you. And that's how some of you, all your spirituality was swallowed by February 2nd. Before 2 weeks of January to please God finishing, Satan has collected a certificate of return. When INEC gave you a certificate of return, Satan just came and said, where is it? Collected it. He said, now continue empty through the year. I lift my hand over you. The things that want to keep you down die for you. Keep fighting. Somebody say, we fight. The fifth thing, maintain your dependence on your source. If you want to remain on the throne, maintain your dependence on your source. Hey. 2 things that destroy people very easily. Number 1 is knowledge. Number 2 is money. Knowledge puffeth up. And the Bible said that a rich man's wealth in his mind is a strong tower. In his mind. It is in the mind of God. In whose mind? After people get money, they begin to trust money. You are not hearing me. If you have my voice, say yes. When people get a little wisdom, they begin to trust knowledge. Have you noticed that many times when you are talking to educated people, they tell you, they say, me too, I went to school. I went to school. As if what they taught them in school has helped them anywhere. You are hearing me? Please, what did they teach you in that school? I've told you before, school has come. You are not hearing me. What did they teach you? Since you were born, what has faced you before? I say now. The answer to this is from Pythagoras' theorem. It's a this thing demands simultaneous equation. No, you are not hearing me. Stop deceiving yourself. What they taught you in politics and governance, does it work in Nigeria? Can you show me what financial principle they taught you that works in this country? You're not hearing. Somebody was asking me, he said, why are Christians not succeeding in business and politics in Nigeria? I say it's because we teach them wrong. I say why? I say because we teach them. Trust God and pray. And then everything will work out. I said no. In Nigeria, the right teaching is this. Trust God and pray. They enter the jungle. And anyhow they fight it. No, you didn't hear me. When you enter the jungle, anyhow others are fighting it. Fight it. I can't be coming to do politics and you hire Tog and then I come there and then put my head and they cut my hand. I can't do that now. So even if I want to vote for you, I go sit down. So if they hire Tog, hire. Tog match Tog. Then while Togs are fighting, let human being go and vote. Turn the fire Satan. No, you are not hearing me here. The reason you are not doing well in business is not because we didn't pray for you. It's that we finished praying. Somebody went and get bribed. The way you're looking at me. If you have my voice, say yes. What I'm saying, is it the truth? He said, no. He said, I am born again in this school. I'm not going to sort anybody. When you get to school, after my prayer, before they ask you for money, go and give them first. Okay, lecturer, how are you? He said, fine. He said, I just bought this thing for you. He said, you remember me today? He said, okay, I remember you every day. Take. Before they ask you, go and say that. He said, I don't believe in what you are saying. Do your own. When you finish your own, come and ask me for prayer for restoration. If you have my voice, say yes. You are doing business in a company. I finished praying for you. You go there, you pour oil, you drop stone, you move around. You didn't see anybody there to greet. Your head no correct. In this country, where everything's upside down, even God is looking for road to enter. He said, behold, I stand at the door and knock. Why is he outside? They close the door. Lift up your head, all ye gates. Be lifted, all everlasting door. That the gate is asking, who is the King of glory? There are some gates that don't recognize the King. I said, we have been teaching them wrong. That's why they are down. Don't go give bribe, but build relationship before the bribe is asked. Are they hearing my voice? Say, no, I don't understand. I understand after all the prayer that pastor prayed. When we were about to do election, they looked at you and said, you don't get structure. You say, I am the structure. They say, when we get there, you understand definition of structure. All of you lined up in River State. From morning till afternoon. By 11 o'clock, you sat down there and said, they must count my vote. My vote must count. They started counting your vote. They finished counting your vote and discounted them. By the time you woke up the next, you were there when they announced the result. Were you there when they changed it? When they told you don't have structure, you didn't go to political education class. If you went to class, you have known what structure meant. No, you didn't hear. When they told you if you don't like it, go to court. Have you asked yourself, what is court? What do they do in court? Blow grammar? Argue, show something, all of those things. He said, bring your evidence. You bring number 1, bring number 2, bring number 3, bring number 4, bring number 100, and all that. They say, hey. He said, yes. Keep it aside. Now, bring your evidence. Because there is evidence that's higher than evidence. I stretch my hand toward. You will not fail in life. In a country with this level of corruption, with this level of wickedness, wherever you stand, match people face to face. In your office, the moment you sit down, somebody wants to sabotage you. Somebody wants to bring you down. Don't be nice about it. Put your feet down and decide, nobody is moving me. Never sit in an office and allow people around you have more connection to your boss than them. They posted there as a police officer. You don't know commission. You don't know anybody high. You don't know anybody up there. They posted you in the company. You're just hanging around there, just carrying on, 18 salary. You are mumu wear cap. In a country like this, where nepotism is the answer to everything, after prayer, go greet the man. Oga, I thank God for you. Your position here has been a blessing. I came to just give you this. He said, it's not my birthday. He said, I don't give for birthday. I just came to appreciate you. You're a good leader. And you work out for me. When promotion is going on, I say, where is that man? Oh, what is his name? Oh, Michael. Where did they post him? Am I talking to somebody here too? You are living in a country where everything is funny. Everything. Even your landlord. If you don't respect him, rent will be increased every week. He's like, landlord, I don't know why you're doing me like this. He will look at you and look away. He said, but you didn't increase the other person's pay. Did you ask what the other person did for him? He said, I don't like landlord. I don't like landlord. Pooh. Go build their own house. So while you maintain your dependence on yourself, somebody say maintain. It's important. Know who your source is. Who is your source? Who is your source? So we ask you to do what you need to do to move ahead, but know who your source is. Every king that lost out in the Bible was a king who looked away from God. Everyone. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not. That's how to stand. If you have my voice, say yes. If you have my voice, say yes. You are our protection. You are our preservation. You are our helper. Lord, we cannot help ourselves. It's not that we don't have soldiers, but you are still our shield, our buckler. If you help me, say yes. The problem is not that you shouldn't have soldiers. The problem is that you shouldn't put your eye on the show. The businessmen that fail are those who think that bribery is the answer. So God makes them chop their bribe and not give them the something. If you have my voice, say yes. Yes. The young ladies who don't get married are those who think that hanging around with a man and sleeping around is the answer. No, God is our source. If you help me, say yes. Yes. But God being your source doesn't mean that good manners shouldn't follow. It doesn't mean as a young lady you don't study how to capture a man and own the man. When they hear me, so that's a young girl. You shouldn't know how the trick works. Just a waka like that. Waka like that. You should be able to know when you are doing fishing. You are holding your hook. You cast it in. Are you with me? You see, every good fisherman here from Nembe will tell you that the problem is not whether the fish will bite your hook or not. The biggest problem is about whether you have the capacity to reel it in. Because every big fish, the moment it bites, the ones you don't have problem with are these ones that are as big as this. But heavy fish will fight. No fish wants to come in quietly. Fight. You are the one trying to reel it in. If you don't know how to reel it in, the fish will eat you are bet and waka come out. He has come. You say, Kai, I almost caught it. I almost nearly no kill a man. I think I tried. Lift your hand from this hour. May the Lord give you wisdom. Don't put confidence in yourself, but don't be a fool not to know what to do. If you say yes. David numbered Israel, and God was angry. God was not angry at the numbering of Israel. God was angry that David was counting on man as his source. So God killed that. Don't look at man. Your boss is not your source. Your father or husband or uncle is not your source. But maintain good relationships. If you help me, say yes. All the years David had soldiers, God didn't quarrel with him. But when he began to count on them, God began to problem. So it's not counting men that's the issue, it's counting on men. You count on God, but count men. You're not hearing me. Count on God, then count men. When you start counting on men, then God gets angry. Are we clear? Then number 6. If you're going to maintain the throne, change curse before it becomes a curse. Change curse before it becomes a curse. C-O-U-R-S-E. Before it becomes a C-U-R-S-E. You see, there are many times as a person on the throne, you are going to make mistakes. Sometimes you even mess up, and sometimes you even sin. And all kinds of things come when you're on the throne. If you're here, say yes. If you heard my voice, I hear you, sir. You see, brothers and sisters, the people that don't last on the throne are those who don't change curse until a curse comes. That you messed up is not the problem. The problem is, will you continue in the mess? These people are not hearing. If you don't change course until listen, you see, David made a mistake. David was careless and slept with Bathsheba. Remember? I'm asking her. Slept with Bathsheba. Bathsheba got pregnant. At that moment, David could have changed course. But do you know one of the problems of sin is that to control sin, you have to sin again. No, you are not hearing. One sin always leads, and the cover-up is always worse than the original sin. So David began to make Bathsheba's husband Uriah to be drunk. So Uriah will go home and sleep with the wife. And then the wife will say she had premature baby. Because the date will not correspond. He said, this baby came too early. The baby didn't come early. It's David's baby. You are not hearing. If you have my voice, say yes. They made all the trouble. Uriah did not agree. David was still on overdrive. And David quickly arranged for Uriah to be killed. The cover up is increasing. If you're here, say yes. Brothers and sisters, before it becomes a curse, know where to come down. I am begging you, know where to dismount. You will need a lie to cover a lie. You will tell one story to cover another. Before this problem becomes an incurable problem, know when to step down and say, Jehovah, I mess up. Oh. If you have my voice, say yes. But a lot of young men in the church will never do that. A lot of young women in the church will never do that. They keep playing hide and seek and keep playing cover up until spiritual catch them one. When you jump spiritual, you will know. Is it listening? If your life is locked up, you turn this way, no help. You turn that way, no help. You go back, no help. You go front, no help. Nobody will tell you that what is fighting is not physical. When you know everybody and yet nobody knows you, all your friends are looking at you and say, we are going to help you tomorrow. You come to me and say tomorrow. You come to me and they say tomorrow. You come to me and they say tomorrow. You come to me and they say tomorrow. By the time you keep going and keep going, at a point you look at them and say, don't help me again. And what is keeping them from helping you? They like you, but there's a curse speaking. Uriah died. Heaven woke up. Prophet, go to David and tell him, because of this thing you did, a sword will not depart from your house. Suddenly, the man after God's heart has set up a pattern in his generation for war in his family. And the sword never departed. He said, that woman, you slept with her in secret. You are all, they will sleep with her in public. Absalom took over. Drove David out of Israel. And the man counseled Absalom. I want you to please listen. A man counseled Absalom and said to Absalom, the way to embarrass your father and make sure that the whole Israel does not respect your father again is to disrespect him to the point of sleeping with all his wives. Now, brothers and sisters, even if they remove their brain and put sawdust, If somebody tells you that, you will know this is nonsense. But because a curse was speaking. That's what I'm saying. Not true. Not true. Gather the whole Israel. So they made an announcement for everybody in Jerusalem to come out. They came out. Absalom came on balcony. Absalom came on balcony and put bed on balcony on top of building. Reading your Bible. On the upstairs balcony. And all his father's wife lined up naked. And he said, watch me. And he did number one. They brought number two. They're watching. Absalom jumped on top of her. They're watching them. Absalom jumped. The question is, this young man, even if termite ate his brain, you know there are people that termite ate their brain. Even if termite ate his brain, doesn't he know that he's embarrassing himself? He's there naked before all of Israel as the one who is going to be king, sleeping with all his father's wives. But you see, when a curse is speaking, David, you slept with her privately. This one will be public. Sister, before your husband impregnates two women, kneel before God and repent of your own. Brother, before your wife returns with another man's baby, repent of your own. Is anybody hearing my voice? Repent. Before your business goes down, repent. Young lady, small girl, big God. We are here. One day you will have your own home. By then you're a big woman with a big God. And then all the small 16-year-old girls are managing your husband for you. He said, no, I will kill them. Jehovah said, you are killing nobody. You come to church, fire, fire, fire. As you are firing, angels are collecting the fire, just dropping on the floor. I said, when you are firing many years ago, you didn't know. I lift my hand over you. Everything that is going to bring you down, the Lord bring it down. Finally, what secures a throne? Number 7, establish a personal covenant with God. Does it look like these last 3 days have been beautiful? I pity those who didn't show up and who didn't watch the teachings. I believe that in these last 3 days I've secured people's destinies. Please. Agotola gadaya kashata. Improgozo kotolinda kapala grahita. Make a personal. Somebody say personal. And that's what we're going to do right now by the communion. There's nothing else. Your throne will be secured by your covenant with God. In 1 Chronicles 13:4 and 5. 1 Chronicles 13:4 and 5. Okay, go to verse 3. Let me see if it makes sense. It said, let us bring again the ark of the Lord our God to us, for we inquired not at it in the days of Saul. Verse 4. And all the congregation said that they would do so, for the thing was right in the eyes of all the people. Okay, go to 2 Chronicles 13. 2 Chronicles 13. This is when David brought the ark back. Go to 2 Chronicles. I think it should be 2nd. Thank you. Okay. It said, and Abijah stood up upon Mount Zemaraim, which is in Mount Ephraim, and said, hear me, thou Jeroboam, and all Israel. Keep going. Ought ye not to know? Should you not be aware of this by now, that the Lord, God of Israel, gave the kingdom over Israel to David forever, even to him and to his sons, by what? Somebody is not saying it. By what? So, you say, Pastor, what does a covenant of salt mean? I don't know. If they leak salt, I don't know. If they bath with salt, I don't know. Whatever it meant, all I know is that there was a covenant. And by that covenant, the kingdom of Israel was handed over to David and his sons. It became a secure kingdom under him. And even till eternity, a son of David will still be ruling. Because Jesus is a son of David. Is that true? Why? A covenant of salt. Now, there is something that secures the kingdom in your hand. It's a covenant with God. But tonight, it's not a covenant of salt, it's a covenant of blood. As you take that communion now and mark your forehead with it, let a covenant that secures your destiny be released. But there's always something that goes with covenant, and that is a vow. Somebody say vow. You are going to make a commitment to God. Lord, I will serve you. My lifting will lift you. My honor will honor you. My glory will praise you. Lord, listen, I am not the man that will eat my tithe. I am not the man that will watch your kingdom suffer. I will make any sacrifice necessary. Oh God, lift me. I didn't hear you. Are you with me? Are you with me? Forgotten this man. The man that has the earth moving equipment. That said to God, their first deal was 25%. What's the name of the man? It's not Caterpillar. There's many people confusing with Caterpillar. It's an American company. Trying to remember his name now. He produces earth moving equipment like Caterpillar and all of that, but it's a different brand. He said to God, whatever you give to me, I'll give you 25%. So God said, deal? He said, yes. So they started. You were giving 25%. He said, God, I want to increase. Whatever you give to me, I'll give you 50%. God said, deal? Yes. God doubled everything. By the time the man was getting old, he had started that earth moving equipment company, was becoming a millionaire and a multi-billionaire. He said to God, he said, you have given me too much. I can't even use it anymore. What do I do? Okay, whatever you give to me now, I'll give you 90%. By the time he died, his tithing was 90% and 10% was too much for him. He had to set up a foundation for his tithe to be shared for missions. Because it was too heavy. He said 10% is even too much. He started with 25. He made a vow. And people would do that. I wish maybe tomorrow I remember I'll check up his name. My internet is off, if not I will blunder now. Because I have him on my illustrations, but I didn't pick it up. Huh? Say? Letone. Letone, that's his name. He has an equipment company called Tane. He bears his name. They operate like Caterpillar. Everything Caterpillar does, they do it. But their own goes beyond that. They're even doing contract work for American military and producing things that go anywhere, even to space. Are you with me? Are you with me? Yeah. IOG Letone. Praise the Lord. You can put it up. Lift up your two hands. Can I say, my Father? Stand to your feet and shout, my Father. Please bring the communion. We are done. My Father. In the name of Jesus. These people are not praying like they came to get to